Hello and welcome to a video where we're going to talk about blue sky and particularly why we don't particularly want it when we're shooting landscapes. Now, don't get me wrong, everyone likes a blue sky. Blue skies work very well for travel photography. For instance, you never see a beach holiday brochure with a stormy sky in the background. In actual fact, if you did, you wouldn't go. Blue skies can have their real purpose in all kinds of situations, but rarely as a landscape photographer's dream. One of the problems with blue skies is it's just kind of stark. Often you get some very direct sunlight because of there's absolutely nothing up there to diffuse the light, and often just don't make for a great image. Most of the great landscape photos that you see either have no sky or have a sky that has some interest in it. So it's a cloud bank, it's a sunset, it's clouds of some description, perhaps it's mist and fog, might even be snow. But rarely is it just one flat colour, or perhaps even just an ombre of colour from darker to lighter as it gets towards the horizon. But if you're out with the camera and all you've got is blue sky, how do you avoid creating a photo that is just a bit of meh? Well, here's 4 techniques to help you achieve a good landscape photo with only blue skies. So let's take an example of a blue sky image and see how we can improve this. Obviously I'm not on location, so I can't change the situation, but I can edit it to prove a point. So this is the Haysborough Lighthouse, which is just a few miles away from where I live, and it's not a bad photo to start with, but we can make it better. Now, I've used Luminar AI to add this sky, and there's lots of other software around that can do this work now, and of course it's a way of resurrecting a photo that hasn't worked quite so well for you. But of course, where possible, you need to start your composition, your exposure, absolutely everything for the finished image needs to start in camera. Yes, we can fix certain things, but perhaps we should shoot it in a way that doesn't require it fixing in the first place. If we were to make this image black and white, and again by the power of software we can do that very quickly by just turning that on, we've got an interesting image. However, now the sky doesn't work so well for it. The sky has become more of a detractant. And here, a bit of flat colour, or just flat anything, has worked remarkably well for it. So, one real useful tip is if you've got a big blue sky, consider shooting the photo for black and white processing, because there's an awful lot more you can do with it in black and white, and the simpler the sky, sometimes the more useful that can be for you. Another technique for working with a blue sky, and again another shot close to home on the Norfolk Broads, we've got this yacht. Shot against the blue sky here, it actually works quite well. And it works quite well because we're effectively joining the lower area of the water with the middle area of the reeds, with the sky itself, with the sail and the mast. Because we're effectively breaking all 3 boundaries with that. But if I put a different image up there, you can see now with the sky, with all of this cloud cover as well, these lovely white fluffy clouds, the image again is arguably a different image. I think that's rather better than before. That's not to say the image before with the blue sky was poor. It wasn't, because we were joining these areas together. However, I think that is more impactful. So, if you have the opportunity, try to merge and join areas of the image together using a technique such as this here. It could be a building, it could be a church spire, it could be a tree, it could be a whole heap of things, but make that subject really pop off. One way of dealing with a bright blue sky, if you don't want a bright blue sky, is to avoid actually getting a lot of it in the shot. Now of course you can just completely obliterate it by cropping it out, depending on the nature of your subject. Or, as in this shot here with the windmill, we've got this very stark white brickwork, and it contrasts wonderfully with the blue sky, which I've darkened down a little bit using a digital polarizing filter in post-processing. We've got the contrast of the shadow there, and it actually makes for a really nice image. I really like that image. It works very well because of the stark contrast between the white of the building and the blue of the background. And of course, if you don't have something that you can get close to like that and look up into, try to remove the sky altogether. Just perhaps use a longer focal length, get as little of it as possible. There's all kinds of ways you can do this. Contrast is another way of dealing with blue skies, and we've already touched upon this with the quite similar image of the windmill just a moment ago. But here we've got more blue sky to deal with, and it works because of the colour contrast between the subject and the sky. Now, if we put a more fussy sky on there, you'll see how the impact of the image changes completely. And it's because of the completely stark blue background that the image looking up through the tombstone works incredibly well. It's a combination of simple shapes, simple colour, working in an almost graphic way within the photograph. Well, thanks for watching. I can't emphasise enough how important it is for you to interact with these videos in some way. Click the like button, maybe give us a comment down below if you've got any tips and such for dealing with blue sky, problem landscapes and such. That would be great. YouTube really does pay good attention to the way in which you interact with these videos. So even if it's a dislike, even if you don't like the video, hit the dislike button, because that actually does count for the YouTube algorithm, and it will help me get higher up in the YouTube ecosystem. Whichever way it happens, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Take care. Are you still there? Try watching some of these videos.